Hello DP1 students. Okay, we are going to look at composite functions today, and composite functions is on page 85. Okay, composite functions in our words or in my own words means that two functions can be combined together to form a function. That means we'll put a function function is like an equation. We will put our equation inside another equation. For example, if I'll have a function of f and a function of g, then I'll put function f of g of x means I'll put function g of x inside the function f. Okay, we are going to look at some examples. So the first one, if I have a function given, two functions given as one is f of x, which is 2 plus 3x. The other function is g of x, which is x squared. Okay, first one, we're going to be doing f of g of x. That means we will put function g inside function g inside function f. So if you look at function f, 2 plus 3x, wherever are the variables, my variable is here, so this entire function will go in place of that, like that. So 2 plus 3 in place of x, here I've replaced it with x squared. So my solution ends up as 2 plus 3x squared. Okay, another example. If I have another case, I have to do g of f of x. The first one was f of g of x. This one is g of f of x. That means I will be putting function f inside function g. I'll put this function inside function g. Wherever I have a x, I have a x here. So this entire thing will be replaced by 2 plus 3x. Like that. So 2 plus 3x, this is where x was. Everything is squared. Okay, another example, we will look at another example. Let's say in this case I have two functions. F of x is 3 plus 2x squared, g of x is square root of x. If my function is, I have to find f of g of x. That means inside function f I have to put the entire equation of g, right? So this is my x. I will replace that x with this entire function. There you go. In place of x, I've circled it. So I will be replacing this x with this entire, the second function, right? You can see that. So the square and the square root will cancel out. You will be left with only 3 plus 2x. Okay, another case. Now if I want to do f of x, that's fancy. Inside function f of x, I'll put this same function again. So instead of in place of x, I'll replace the entire function. See how that works here. So this is where I'll substitute. I've circled it. I'll replace this x with this entire function there. And you can always expand the bracket, square that, and then whatever you get the expanded form, and then multiply with 2, and then expand and simplify your function. Or it's okay if you want to leave it like that. Right, now another one, f of 2. So here I replaced only with x. Now in my f of x, I will be putting 2. So this same answer, which was f of x, instead of the x, I will replace the x's with the 2. So you can see this entire function, I have it here, and I replaced it with 2 wherever I had an x, and my answer comes to 245. Okay, we're going to look at the example from the textbook. Example number 13 on page 86, right? And before we go on to that example, some important things about the domain and range of the composite functions, right? I've given the rules here, the domain and range of the composite functions, and that will help you get the domain and range for that. Okay, D for domain. If I have to find the domain of f of g of x, and this will be same as the domain of g, right? Domain of f of g will be same as the domain of the second function, the inside function, right? If I have to find domain of g of f, that means it will be same as the domain of f. If I have to find the range, now if I have to find the range of f of g, it will be same as range of f. Range of the first function. If I have to find range of g of x, then this will be the range for this, the entire composite function will be same as the range of the g. The first ones. Ranges will be the same as the first functions, and domains will be the same as the second functions. Okay, right? Also, if there's like a fractional function, we'll just have to take care of the restrictions, right? If there's a case like that, I'll let you know. But for now, we will continue. Okay, so we are going to look at the example from the textbook, example number 13, and it says I've given three functions are given: f of x, g of x, and h of x. That's on page number 86. We will be solving for all that. Right? First one, f of g of x. So fgh is here, f of g of x. So my f of x is that function. There you go. I'll replace this x with entire g of x, that second function. So instead of the x here, I have replaced all that. You can expand the bracket and collect any like terms. Right? Part B is asking you to do find g of f of x. This time in the function g. My function g is the second one. There you go. So there it is. Everywhere that I have a x. I have a x here, I have a x here. I'll replace it with the f function. There you go. There you go. You can always expand it if you want to. Expand the brackets and that. But otherwise, if you want to leave it like that, there's no problem with it. Okay. Now next one. It says we have to find f of h of x. So everywhere that I have a x, I'll replace it with h of x. Okay. H of x is -3. So instead of for h of x, I'll replace that with -3. I have a numerical answer. Now, part D, f of g of -1. Somewhere I've already found my f of g, right? In part A, f of g was found there, and that was my final answer. And then in part D, you can see instead of f of g of x, we have to do f of g of -1. So in this function, I will replace it with -1. There you go, and you get that answer. Now next one, f of g of x. So we will always start from the inside. First thing, we'll work this two out. F of g of x. We'll forgo this bit for a while, right? So my f of g of x, my f function was that, g of x was that, right? So f of g of x, everywhere that I have a g of x, I've replaced with f of x, right? F of g of x, I have a f of g of x. There you go, right? So this one was already found here. F of g of x, it can be also written like that, f of g of x. There you go, right? And this was there. So that's done already. This bit is done already. Now I have to only do that, f of that. So in the f function, can you see I have substituted my f of x, right? Next I have f of g of h of 1. So first thing I'll have to do g of h. My h is -3. In my g function, you will see I've substituted -3. I have a 2. Right? Then I'll in my f function. In my f function, this will be substituted in my f function, the previous answer. Okay? Right? And you will see the expanded forms are there already given in your answer sheet. You can always go over that in detail, and that's on page number 87. Thank you.